The views or opinions expressed on Ann Arbor Inclusive do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the City of Ann Arbor and the Commission on Disability Issues. For more information about the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, please visit a2gov.org/disability resources.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive. I'm Zach Damon. We have a wonderful show for you today as James Murtha, intern and volunteer at the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, join us in studio. And James, I'd like to get the ball rolling, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, wonderful. So the Reeve Foundation is dedicated to curing a spinal cord injury by funding innovative research and improving quality of life for people with paralysis. But I'm curious, what was it that led you to start working with the Reeve Foundation?
Right. Well, I got injured 3 years ago out in Colorado, and I came back 5 months later to Michigan. And while I was doing my outpatient rehab at University of Michigan, I got in touch with Tom Holtland, who's he's a Christopher Reeve peer mentor, and he got to talking to me, and the more we got to know each other, he invited me out to go with him to the hospital, to the inpatient floors, the rehab floors, because he thought that I'd be good as a mentor, and so I checked it out and I really enjoyed it, and so I got trained and been with them since.
Wow, that is amazing. And Tom Holtland, you know, great individual, great advocate in the wonderful Ann Arbor community. Can you talk about, too, just how rewarding it is for you, you know, to be able to work with the Reeve Foundation and you know, be in the spot that Tom was and bringing that hope and that zeal to people that go through that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you're able to be a part of something bigger than yourself, it gives you a lot of sense of purpose, and that's something that you lose after a spinal cord injury. Like you start to question, you know, what's your place? What's your place in society? What's your place in your family? Like all areas of life. And so having this organization like as a presence for the spinal cord injury community is huge because of the resources they provide and the support that they offer, and also being able to be a part of that gave me just another reason to, you know, keep going and to have hope and feel like I am helping others and, you know, being a part of something big.
That's awesome. And I think the fact that you, you know, not only are taking action to being a part of, you know, that community and being a part of impacting those that have been recently, unfortunately, paralyzed, I think that is very noble because, again, you know, going through that, I can't imagine the amount of highs and lows that they go through. And so it's got to be just a wonderful, wonderful thing for you to offer them hope. So thank you for doing that. I'd like to touch a little bit on the backgrounds of the foundation. In 1995, Christopher Reeve, of course, was injured.
Right.
And the American Paralysis Association, or APA, was actually one of the first places that he and Dana had turned to. And of course, in 1999, the APA and Christopher's Foundation came together to form the Christopher Reeve Foundation, which then, of course, added Dana's name after her death, of course, in 2006. And I'd like to read the mission statement because I think it's very important. And their mission can be summed up, it says, into 4 words. It says, today's care is tomorrow's cure. And it reflects the dual purpose set forth by the Christopher and Dana Reeve, and to provide a continuum of hope for individuals living with paralysis worldwide. So this isn't just something that's here in Ann Arbor, here in Michigan, here in the U.S., but throughout the world. And in your own particular situation, you know, why do you feel this mission is important?
Well, just because there's anytime for any of us, like this could impact our lives, either anybody's life, either directly or indirectly, just because, you know, the human body is such a fragile thing.
Indeed.
And before the Chris Reeve, before Chris Reeve took, like, really started taking initiative, there wasn't a like a real strong presence
Sure.
to promote the cause.
Sure.
And so even though there were a lot of people advocating for disabilities, like, they didn't really have a lot of presence.
Sure.
And so him being such a, like, you know, well-known person, you know, as unfortunate as this was for him, I mean, he really took it and made it a mission, you know, and he really got the movement just propelling a lot faster than it was before. And so it's just it's not only important for the disability community members, but it's important for the just to change the way that society thinks, not only of the disabled community, but for, you know, it's a change, like, it's,
Yeah.
it can manifest in, like, other communities too.
I completely agree with you, James. I mean, changing the perception of what is disability, right? Or what is differently abled, or just changing that stigma or what that is in society. I couldn't agree more. And I think the work that you're doing is helping that become, you know, something that's on the forefront of people's thought. And I wanted to touch more, too, on your work as a mentor, ambassador, and intern with the Reeve Foundation. How was your experience within the organization again? You know, how do you feel that that's helped you personally and professionally? I mean, do you feel that it's that organization, for somebody that, you know, has paralysis, does it help them personally to be involved and professionally as well?
It does, just from, like, you asked for personal experience. I mean, obviously, like, this is, you know, a part of my life, and they have a wealth of resources, a lot of information. So personally, like, it's huge to have them as a presence because of everything that they have to offer. And professionally, like, through being involved with them, I mean, well, personally, I mentioned that it gives me, like, another sense of, you know, purpose, and gives me, you know, more drive to keep going, like, you know, day to day. Professionally, like, I mean, it's given me more understand, like, looks at, like, what's going on, you know, in the world, in, like the world of, like, you know, running a foundation like this.
Sure.
And, you know, seeing what it takes to operate something like this. So.
Yeah. Well, and they're definitely an organization, I feel like, that is in the know. Is that accurate to say that? I mean, they're always in the forefront of knowing what the innovations are within research.
Yeah, like the motto says, today's care, tomorrow's cure. Like, they're heavily involved in being proponents of research. They have their own research called the Big Idea, which is it's about epidural stimulation.
Okay.
And it's causing, like, right now they had 4 people in that study who received epidural stimulation, so stimulation right on the spinal cord. And
Really? Wow.
and it gave them back some motor function, some.
Did it really?
Yeah, and some bowel, bladder, and sexual function as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're doing that, but the organization also advocates at a national level
Okay.
for disability rights, and for to keep the organization going itself, because, you know, as you might be aware, the fiscal year budget has been being reconfigured, and currently the PRC, the Paralysis Resource Center at the Reeve Foundation, it had been cut from the proposed budget for 19.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and or 18, sorry. And so they're working right now to advocate and make sure that that funding does not get cut, so they're able to keep providing resources, because they provide resources like not only to people with paralysis, but to their family members, to caregivers, and and they also provide in multiple languages, like they've serviced they provided service in up to 150 different languages.
Wow, 150.
Because they can work with interpreters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're really resourceful, and for like individuals who have paralysis or family members, they can call in to the information specialist and just say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And the specialist will ask them, like, where are you and what do you have to work with? And based off that, they'll give them, a unique, customized answer. Yeah. And there's, so many other things that they have, like in the foundation, like in terms of, they have quality of life grants for if there's an organization that's at grassroots and they're trying to take off and need some support, they can apply for a grant to receive funding to have that extra boost to be able to either get started or keep going. And so they've given out thousands of grants to different organizations around the nation, and they also have a wealth of other resources. They have
well, if you don't mind,
a library and things like that, like a library loan program, and for with books, videos, ebooks, all that stuff. So.
Dang, that's awesome. I mean, that they provide.
And they have a mentoring program. That's like a big thing about them too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, James, and it's great that you're so knowledgeable and know so much of what they offer. You know what? I actually want to touch on that. In 2002, the Reeve Foundation Paralysis Resource Center, or PRC, opened its doors, and the PRC consists, again, as you stated, of a variety of services, communities, and programs, including information specialists, as you talked about, peer and family support programs, quality of life, grant programs, the Military and Veterans Program, or MVP, and my favorite, the Advocacy Policy Program, designed to not only help individuals advocate for themselves, but also advance important issues for the greater of communities of individuals with paralysis. Now, as an ambassador, I'm curious, why is being an advocate for yourself and others important?
Well, the point, first things first, is that you have to advocate for yourself first. I mean, because you can't expect others to do everything for you, and you at some point, you need to be your own advocate. That's something that a lot of people, when they're first injured, that's a valuable piece of advice that a lot of people, need to hear. And so, and you also need to advocate for others, because, some people may not be aware of what's out there. People may not be as knowledgeable about resources that are available and such. So, it's important to, still help each other out, and yeah.
Was that hard for you in the beginning, to sort of advocate for yourself? Can you talk about the evolution of that?
Yeah, just because when you go through something like this, there's so many things going on. You're coming to terms with what's just happened, with becoming paralyzed. And I mean, some people, like me, I had a background as a emergency medical technician, so beforehand. So I mean, I kind of understood what was happening, but some people have no prior experience, or prior knowledge about, anatomy or anything like that. So, they don't understand, what's going on. And so there's that. There's the confusion. There's the confusion that's going on with that, and there's a lot of body changes that are going on. But once those subside, you know, reality starts to set in, like, you know, you need to start dealing with barriers, like, you know, that like some people may not be able to go home right away because
Sure.
their home's not built for, you know, a wheelchair, and
Right.
so there's financial barriers. So there's a lot of different things going on,
Yep.
and so with all these things happening, it can be hard to, you know, take
Right.
like, you know, take the reins, and you
Yep.
know, and also have, you know, the awareness to find
Right.
like resources that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, being an adult and adulting, as they say, you know, and paying
Yeah.
bills and having a job and scheduling and all that stuff is also a lot. But then having to take on, uh, you know, paralysis and the obstacles that come along with that, you know, has to be a whole nother, you know, set of challenges and a whole nother thing that people have to sort of sit down and compartmentalize and say, okay, let's, you know, deal with this. And again, you know, I think it's great that you're able to not just advocate for yourself, but teach others how important advocacy is as an ambassador. But aside
And
from
also part of the ambassador work is reaching out to hospitals and making sure that they A, know the foundation exists, and B, knows, you know, why it's important, what it can do. Like that's the big part of the ambassador program that they just recently kicked it off last summer, and
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, so we're hoping that it'll pick up steam and, you know, grow our network with hospitals.
well, with you at the helm, being one of those ambassadors, I have no doubt that it will. But aside from the great work, James, that you do with the Reeve Foundation, you're also a social work major at the wonderful University of Michigan, right here in Ann Arbor. And I'm curious, you know, what will you bring to those that you work with in the field, and what do you think great qualities that you have that you can bring to the social work field upon graduation?
I think everybody has their own unique skill set. Everybody has a unique background that they come from. For me, like I came from, you know, a medical background. Like I studied biology for many years, and I studied to be an emergency medical technician, and so I have that perspective, like that style of thinking, but and also just, I mean, my demeanor, like, I mean, I'm patient and compassionate, but also, you know, persistent. You know, I don't get complacent, and so those are my own skill sets.
Yeah, man. No, you know what? I'd also put in there driven, right? You say
Yeah.
persistent, I say driven, because you have also with that a great amount of tenacity. You know, you just go after what you want. You're a very headstrong individual, great intellect, and I think that is one of the great gifts is intellect. And so I really applaud you for being at one of the best, the best public institution in the United States, in the University of Michigan, and you know, look forward to you getting your degree, definitely.
Thanks.
Can you share one great memory you have while working with the Reeve Foundation?
I think I'm having a lot of, I'm making a lot of great memories right now through what I'm able to do as being an intern with them, because it's been really fascinating to be able to see how things are going, you know, behind the scenes, and like what it takes to run the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And have you made a lot of great, you know, professional friends within the organization that you didn't think you were going to necessarily encounter when working with the foundation?
Yeah, I had no idea like how many team members there like that went into running the operation.
Sure.
Like they have people running like the policy area, like advocating for policy and people running quality of life grants, like just in that department. And I've gotten to know the people in the mentoring program better, and so it's just, and in the information specialist team, so it's just been really, it's been really surprising to, you know, learn like how all these different parts come together. So yeah.
Have you, so of all those different departments and all of the different resources at the foundation, do you have one that you're really gravitating towards in terms of policy, in terms of mentorship?
I'm kind of sticking with primarily with my original like affiliates, if you will, in the mentoring program, and they're giving me a lot of, they've been giving me a lot of opportunities to give my opinion on how I think the foundation could be better. Like we've worked on projects for how to support the mentors and give them more resources for when they have questions or uncertainties or need extra tools for development. And we're also looking at, they're giving me, they asked for my opinion on like new ways that the foundation could take on new projects, and so, you know, I got to give them my 2 cents.
There we go.
Yeah, I got to give them my my personal spin on where I think they could take things, and so it's been really cool to collaborate with them on that.
Oh yeah, and I think it's great too that they're so receptive. I mean, I think maybe that's what makes the Reeve Foundation amazing, is that they take that information and they become better. And you know,
they're always growing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, they'll be around, you know, for decades to come. And with you, do you see yourself with the organization for a long time, or what's your dream once you graduate and get a degree in social work?
Well, my dream was to, like, the reason I got into social work was because I wanted to do counseling and therapy work for people who have had either a spinal cord injury or have or are battling addiction, and I wanted to get into this because I wanted to improve the outcomes for people after they go through it, after they have a spinal cord injury. Like I wanted to help people be like get to having a successful, like getting back to like having a fulfilling, successful and happy life quicker.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to do that already through like what I'm doing with the Reeve Foundation.
There you go.
As an intern, I'm also working with a couple different groups on the side. There's a group in Ohio called SCI. We call ourselves SCI Connect, and they're doing a lot of advocacy work for people in Ohio who have disabilities to get more help for home help and like change the policies on that, because like right now it's really, really challenging to navigate home help through the state Medicaid, and so they're doing a lot of groundwork to change that. And I'm also part of another group of individuals. We call ourselves Thrive After SCI, and we're trying to change the like attitude of like what is life after a spinal cord injury. Like it's not just surviving, it's you know, thriving, it's, you know,
that's right,
growth, it's, you know, continuing your life, not, you know, refiguring it out. So
that's right.
So I mean, just keep doing things like that. Like that's my passion.
Oh, that is awesome, and I have no doubt that you'll continue to live your passion and do a lot of great things, James. And I think what you're doing is very noble, and I mean that. So thank you for what you're doing. For those that want to volunteer or find out more about the Reeve Foundation, or also donate, because of course the Reeve Foundation does rely a lot on financial donation and support.
Definitely.
How can they get involved?
Well, first things first, the website for the Reeve Foundation is chrisreeve.org. And so if viewers want to get involved, they can go to there, and there's sections where they can request if they are interested in talking. If it's a person with paralysis or their family members, they can they can go to the links to get a mentor to talk to. And the mentors are people with paralysis or caregivers. Caregivers can be mentors also. And then people can sign up to be advocates as well. People can follow the links to receive information on how they can stay informed for spinal cord injury related policy.
Okay.
And how to be a part of that. And then there's also just a wealth of other information that they can learn about how to be involved on that, like through going to that website. So
Okay.
that's the first place to start.
All right, brother. Well, hey, thank you so much. Keep being a man of steel, and I wish the Reeve Foundation and all the men and women of steel within the organization all the best. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Again, I'd like to thank James for joining us and hope that you enjoyed the program. Please be sure to tune into Ann Arbor Inclusive next month. And as always, stay awesome, Ann Arbor.